Hi, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, from wherever part of this globe you are. Feel most welcome. We are privileged to have you on board. And it's a great joy to have this interaction. I want to believe that we are audible enough. Please always do not hesitate to let us know in the chat box if we are not clear. This webinar is organized by Apply International. Apply International is an organization or a company that has invested so much in helping majorly nurses who will want to pursue their overseas ambitions as their main profession. We have helped so many nurses, especially the privately sponsored individuals who do not know how to go about the process of becoming a United States registered nurse. So therefore, today we're going to have an interactive session where we're going to learn more about the process. And also you have an opportunity to know what we do at Apply International and how we do our activities at the Apply International. My name is Thomas Chacha. I am the program director in the Apply International. Also, you can see we are quite a number. Also on board is Evans Wako, who is our registrations director in Apply International. So he will be telling us much more about the registration process, what you need to register, and basically what you also need to register as far as NCLEX is concerned, plus many other things, because we don't only stop at NCLEX, we also make sure that after the nurses pass NCLEX, then they also pass the prerequisites, other prerequisites like the English test, basically those who want to do the International English Testing System, IELTS, or those who want to do OET, we also have those services. So therefore, our registrations director, Mr. Amos, as Mr. is going to talk about that one into details, Mr. Dennis Wako. We've also brought on board our lead NCLEX tutor, Mr. Evans Minor is our lead NCLEX tutor. He has a team that he works with, but he's the one charged with the mandate to coordinate the NCLEX classes. He's our NCLEX lead tutor. He was also going to talk more about NCLEX. What do you need to know about NCLEX? And what is NCLEX? And who is qualified or who is eligible to do NCLEX? And then thereafter, we're going to have a question and answer session. So we believe that we are going to benefit, we're going to learn more, all of us. And if there is any question, please, you'll need to note it down. Just write it, because there will be that session at the tail end of these presentations, so that you don't lose track of the presentation that we are having. I will suggest that you be writing down the questions that you could be having, so that at the end, we'll try as much as possible to give each and everyone a chance to to ask their questions. But also, we'll also request that if your question has been answered, maybe somebody else asked a question and the question has been answered, there is no need of asking the same question, so that we give an opportunity to those that are having a different question to be answered. So this is a very important occasion. It's a very important webinar. If you are interested to know NCLEX, the registration process, and what it entails, I'm sure you're going to learn a lot, and it will be an exciting moment. Otherwise, feel most welcome once again, and we are so much privileged to have you on board. It is 19:20 hours Kenyan time, or the Eastern African time. I know we are tuned in from different parts of the country, from Zambia, from Ghana, from Nigeria, and all over. So we are honored to have you on board. Right. I think we already have quorum. I don't want us to continue waiting any longer than this. And therefore, within no time, I will be roping in our first presenter, who is going to tell you more about Apply International and what we do, and also take us through the registration process later. But for the start, I'll want to rope him in to tell us more about Apply International, who we are, what do we do, and what have we been doing? How did we come to exist? What inspired our existence? Okay, because everything, every beautiful thing has a story behind it. So I'm sure you'll be glad to know what motivated us to begin the Apply International. What was the motivation behind that? And what have we been doing since then? Okay, do we have anything to show for that? I'm sure you could be asking yourself so many questions, okay. But I want to tell you that we have a vast experience in this. We are not new, we are not beginning today. We have done this before. He will tell you exactly when we began, and perhaps also give you the number of clients that have successfully passed through this program. And in fact, in our next webinars, when we organized, this was organized in a short period of time because of the request from our clients who are making inquiries. So we thought, instead of answering each and everyone individually, we organize a webinar that is going to answer all of us and also make all of us have an opportunity to know who we are. But in the next and subsequent webinars, we shall be bringing life stories, people that have passed through our program. Some of them are working in the United States. A majority of them, we have a few working in Canada. We have a few working in Australia, and quite a number. Also in the UK, by the way, we have quite a number that have also passed through this. Okay, so for today, we're not going to talk about CBT or NMC. We're just going to talk about Apply International and NCLEX. All right. So, hi, Mr. Dennis Wako. I believe you are there. Are you able to hear? Are you able to hear me well?
Yes, you're audible enough.
Right. Thank you. So, may I take this opportunity to invite you to come and tell the audience what Apply International does, and generally, what is Apply International, please?
Okay, thank you very much for that introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Dennis Wako. I am one of the staff for Apply International. I'm going to share my screen. So just give me a few minutes to share my screen, and we'll get started. Are you able to see my shared screen? Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Confirm that you can see my shared screen.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
We can see. I can see your shared screen.
Yes, we can see your shared screen.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
that's
can.
okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm here to talk about Apply International. So and why we exist, the services that we do. When did we start doing this? When was the company incorporated? And the services that you can engage us in doing. So basically, Apply International, basically it's a gateway of global opportunities for those nurses, especially who wants to who wants to acquire the international opportunities that exist out there. So we started in 2020. Basically, we saw the need of assisting nurses. Basically, in 2020, we were assisting nurses who wanted to work as USRN, who wanted to become registered nurses in the US. So we saw the need and the challenges that they were facing with the staffing agency, especially those who didn't want to share the revenue with the staffing agency. So those who wanted to sponsor themselves for the process, then migrate into the US and reap the full benefit of going as a self-sponsored candidate. We also, we started with the locally in Kenya, but we expanded our services online. Nowadays, we have international clientele base, who we assist them in the international application services. What is our mission? Our mission is to empower individuals and organizations by ensuring that we make the complex processes of international application simple. So basically, we exist to guide international applicants who wants to grab the international opportunities that exist out there. A lot of people are in darkness of what they can gain if they take their experience outside there, especially in countries like USA, Canada, Australia, and the UK. What's our commitment? Our commitment is to ensure that we dedicate our support to ensure that we provide top-notch study materials and resources, especially for NCLEX, and also for the English proficiency exams, that is IELTS and OET, and ensure that our clients excel and meet the minimum requirements that they need so that they are able to be admitted in the various opportunities they are trying to catch. Our mission is to ensure that we extend beyond service by ensuring that we create a global communities where opportunities are boundless. We exist to ensure that regardless of where you are, you get informed, you are able to know what you are required to do so that you can attain and grab the international opportunities that are outside there. Like currently, there's a crisis in the US, there's demand for nurses, and that workforce is readily available in Africa. So we ensure that we sell out our information, we inform our clients, and we advise them on what they need to do so that they can be able to grab those opportunities that exist out there. We, as a company, we have our core values of ensuring that clients get value on the services that they want to us to provide for them. So some of their core values is integrity. We ensure that we are honest in our dealing, transparent in all our interactions, and building trust with our community. Probably that's why you have heard of us, because we have a good name outside there. We have built a brand, and people can trust us because of what we deliver. We also ensure that there's professionalism in our dealing by ensuring that our staff always act in a professional way, especially when they are engaging with the customers, to ensure that they maintain high standards and ethical conduct. we have put in place measures to ensure that the client's expirations and the client's expectations are met. So I'm going to talk briefly on the services that apply international offers. So basically, which we are going to talk today about is about the NCLEX revision program and also the NCLEX registrations. So that's some of our services that we do offer for those nurses who aspire to work in the US, Canada, and Australia, because after passing NCLEX, you are able to use that in US, Canada, and Australia. We also offer English proficiency training, that is IELTS and OET, which is a minimum which is a requirement you need, especially for a foreign educated nurse who wants to practice in Europe and also in America. We also do international CV alignment. Basically, as a local nurse, you need a good CV so that we can sell you outside there. These many opportunities that are available outside there. We also help with visa application services, especially if, for example, you have a challenge with the visa applications, you need to be guided. We also help with that. So in case you need any of the services listed there, feel free to engage our staff, our customer service. They're going to guide you accordingly. We also help in international university application, especially those who wants to study their degree or masters in UK, Australia, Canada, and US. We also facilitate that. Okay. So this is our contact. In case you want to engage us, feel free to reach out to us, especially our website, because our website, you are able to see all the services that we engage in. If you want to purchase one of our services, you are able to make payment online and one of our staff will be assigned to you. In case you need to make a call to us or you need to send us a text on WhatsApp, this is our organization phone number. You can note it down. You can note it down whenever you have a request or you need something to be clarified on, and always reach out to us regarding the same. Thank you, Chacha. I think that's what I needed to present on regards to Apply International and the services that we do offer.
Right, thank you so much, our registrations director, Mr. Dennis Wako, for that powerful presentation. I'm sure you touched all areas, and I'm sure our colleagues here, if they're having any questions, they're noting them down, and then we'll give an opportunity for them to ask. Okay, so clearly, colleagues, you can see that we've been in the business for quite some good time from 2020, and this was majorly informed by the coronavirus. So coronavirus, it was like a blessing in disguise to some of us and to many of you, because it changed the norms in the world. And, you know, very many products began to be offered online. And so we could not be left behind. And therefore, we've seen a number of people transitioning. I think we've seen over 1,000 nurses transitioning. And therefore, we are so proud, not because of what we are doing, we are so proud because of our clients making it and passing through our program successfully. And so as we've been looking forward to having more of us coming and joining us to walk together in this journey, ours is only one. We can assure you of nothing less than quality, that we shall stand by your side offer any necessary support, guidance, and make sure that we have delivered a live and kicking baby, who of course will score very highly in terms of APGA score. We can score 10 at 1, 10 at 5. Yeah, so we have the confidence, we have the resources, we have the expertise, and our NCLEX tutors are well experienced. Some of them are already working in the United States, right? And we also have a number here in Kenya. And also some good news is that all along in Africa, we've only had one testing center in South Africa, Johannesburg. But early this year, there was another center, NCLEX test center, that was inaugurated in Kenya. And we are hopeful that in the next couple of months, it will take the first cohort. It has already been officially launched and inaugurated. And therefore, we know that will be a big boost because the South Africa Center is not such a big center. And sometimes you'll want to book, like, for example, as we are talking now, when we want to book for our students in South Africa, you realize that it is full up to the month of May. So therefore, we are supposed to go to India, sometimes up to even Philippines, China, Hong Kong, yeah, especially for our students who want to schedule and we feel that they are ready. So therefore, the NCLEX Center in Kenya will be a game changer in the region, both in East and Central Africa, because it will supplement or complement the numbers that are currently being served in South Africa. Apart from that, we have also seen in Kenya at the US Embassy, people and nurses, especially the EB3. EB3 is the immigrant visa for nurses who are going to, especially who are processing their overseas journey into the US. We've seen a number of visas being issued, dates being issued, and there was initially a backlog, but that has since not been the case because the embassy guys are doing a good job. And we've also tried to see, even in Ghana, yeah, I'm sure we have Ghanaians here and they can confirm that the backlog is not as bad as it was, right? So therefore, there is light at the end of the tunnel. You know, initially people were so much scared that there could be, you know, the retrogression thing. But this retrogression, we are beating it faster than we thought, faster than we imagining. Okay, so I'm sure you're writing those questions down. And at this point, I want to rope in now our NCLEX lead tutor, Mr. Evans, who is ready. I can see he's ready in, and he will talk more about NCLEX, everything you need to know about NCLEX. All right, so hi, Mr. Evans, are you able to hear me?
Yes, hello, Thomas, I can hear you.
Right, thank you very well. I also want to believe that our listeners and our colleagues already in the call, they're able to hear you well and of course able to see you. I can see you clearly and of course I can hear you well. Please,
Okay, thank
may
you.
you take this opportunity to take us through some of these vital information that our clients may need at this point. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for this great opportunity. So, hello nurses, and welcome all from where you are all. So today I want to take you through a brief introduction about the NCLEX exam. So nurses, what do you know or what have you heard about the NCLEX exam? What do you know or what have you heard about the NCLEX exam? So I know this is the time now we are going to discuss all this. So allow me to just briefly tell you what is NCLEX. So NCLEX is just like any other exam, but it's only that it is a safety exam. So any of the questions you are going to attempt, it means we are going to assess your safety. Are you able to care for that patient? Are you going to reduce all those factors which will contribute or which will kill the patient? So we want to make sure that this exam is just to make sure you are able to make this patient safe and assist them to continue living. And then this exam, because of this safetiness, sometimes we refer it as a perfect world. A perfect world, because it's not like our routine nursing procedures we normally do in our clinical areas. We have to follow it in a perfect manner. So we want to make sure that the procedure should be done without shortcuts. So that's what NCLEX is going to assess you on. So the most important thing you should remember, in case you answer any question, so ask yourself, is this answer going to save this patient? So that's why we call it a perfect and safety exam. So we have some principles you need to know as you prepare for this journey. NCLEX is a marathon. I know you have seen athletes running. And what do athletes normally do? They set a pace. And then, I know you have very much watched the athletes running. They have even the pace makers. So we as the instructors, we are here to set your pace. And then also you yourself, you set your own pace. But remember, by the end towards your exam, what are you supposed to do? To increase, finish up with power. So remember, this is the same way you are going to study this NCLEX. So the NCLEX exam, the current new generation exam, for registered nurses, the minimum number of questions you can do is 85 questions. The minimum number is 85 and the maximum number is 150 questions. So as you prepare for this journey, just make sure that you are adjusting yourself, knowing very well that the minimum number of questions you are going to do, 85, the maximum 150. The good news is that NCLEX exam has answers. So it's just for you to choose A, B, C, and D. Those are the good news about the NCLEX exam. But remember, anything you are given answers, it's tricky. So that's why we are here to make sure you know it. Then, as you learn this NCLEX, make sure you know what other people know. I know you have friends. If you know a friend who understands asthma, for example, make sure you also know that asthma. What do I mean? It's not a must for you to know everything to pass NCLEX. NCLEX has a lot of content, of course, and that's why we are going to guide you to set your pace, but make sure you know what most of the colleagues, what most of the nurses know. Because by the end of the day, the NCLEX exam, you need to know what others know, and the rest, that's why I've said it's not a must to score all of them. And then because we have the multiple choices, nurses, learn to stick to your first response, to your first choice. Because that's why we normally teach our students that the maximum number of minutes you take on a question, if the question maybe is the hardest question, it's 2 minutes. Because if you reread the question again, you go to the answers, there is high chances of you changing the choices. So we emphasize on our students to stick on their first choice. Then, of course, this is a journey. NCLEX is not a walk in the park. Make sure you remember the reason why you want to start this journey. I know there is a driving force behind your application for this process. So always have that power that you can do it. because as the nurses have done it, you are also a nurse, a great nurse. You can do it. Just remember to stay positive. Because I know when we start to learn, you will be able to meet some few challenges just because of the techniques which NCLEX is assessing. So we will be able to assist you. But as we assist you, make sure you have that inner driving force to enable you to achieve your goal. So we have some of the types of questions they normally set, but I don't want to go into each so much, but I have some brief things to tell you here. Number one is don't read into the question. What does it mean? When you read a question, don't add up your words. Just read the question the way it is. Don't ask yourself, what if, why? So if you start to add other words, phrases within the question, then you are having high chances of choosing the wrong response. Also, remember in this NCLEX exam, you are going to answer questions just following the normal simple routine things we do. For example, you are supposed to start from non-invasive or least invasive procedure to most invasive. For example, you have a question with asthma patient, and then this asthma patient is having what? Asthmatic attack. So you as a nurse, you are supposed to do at least two things. Number one is position this patient in Fowler's position, and then number two is to do what? Nebulize. So what does it mean? Start with least invasive procedure. So the least invasive procedure here is what? Position. Just start with position first. So that's how you are going to answer the NCLEX question. So don't give nebulization, yet you have not placed the patient in Fowler's position. Next, we use the nursing process. You have seen the nursing process. You have been writing the nursing care of your patient. You see the first thing you do in a patient is what? Assessment. So in any question, when you are given a question, make sure you see, is there assessment done for this patient? And then you do the management. Then in case you have a patient together with the machine, for example, chest tube connection, and then you see that there is no flow of the drainage from the chest tube. So what is the first thing you're supposed to do? Assess patient first. And then number two, you check for any misconnections, kinks, and the rest. Remember, from the beginning, I've told you very well, NCLEX is a safety. Exam. So it
Evans,
means you are then you go
sorry,
to status.
We lost you at some point, Evans.
Hello, are you able to get me? Or are you lost?
Yes, yeah, we lost you at some point, but now we can hear you. I guess it could have been a network issue.
Yeah, sorry. It is a network issue, nurses.
All right.
Yeah.
So please share your screen once again. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So nurses, I was trying to tell you that in case in NCLEX you meet two opposite answers, maybe hypertension and another one hypotension, then one of them will be the correct answer. So these things we are going to teach you, of course, as we progress. Then if you have two similar answers, then none is correct. So we will be able to teach you all those. Then we have the comma rule. In NCLEX, make sure if you are asked about maybe foods which contain potassium, make sure, for example, they'll give you the answer bananas, comma, avocados, green vegetables, and the rest. So make sure you tick each correct. Because sometimes they can give you maybe number one, bananas is correct, has high potassium. Avocados, very correct, has high potassium. But what about the oranges? Oranges does not contain potassium. So we also have that comma rule. Then we have therapeutic communication nurses. In NCLEX, if there is something which you are required to do is to make sure you choose a response which allows the patient to continue to talk. You choose a question or the answer which allows the patient to continue to talk. So in simple terms, we mean make sure you choose those responses which are open-ended. Because when patients verbalize, you are able to collect information. And sometimes we also have another type of question, which is positive and negative questions. For example, which statement shows that the patient understood your management or your teaching, and vice versa. Then we have another type of question we are going to see. NCLEX can ask you, can give you something, a question we call the hotspot. So hotspot question needs you to identify the part of the body. For example, they can give you the human body and then they ask you on which part of the body can you be able to locate the lungs, the liver. For example, we have the apical pulse. For example, we have the apical pulse. The apical pulse is usually at the fifth intercostal space and then the left one. So it means you just click here and then you get the answer correct. So in case those are hotspots type of question, you are just asked a question. Where can you locate the heart in the human body? So you just come and click here and then you get the correction, the answer correct. So those type of question, we call them hotspot. Then we have drag and drop questions. Drag and drop questions, they just need to see the order. For example, sometimes they can ask you, they can disarrange these responses, for example, of putting on the PPEs. And then they want to see, you as a nurse, do you know which PPE do you start to put on and which is the last one to put on? Do you know which is the first PPE to remove and which is the last PPE to remove? So those are the types of question we call drag and drop question. Then nurses, we have the pharmacological question. Make sure as you start this process, you must make sure you learn about the drugs. And the good news about the drugs, you only need to know two things about drugs: the side effects and the adverse effects. Between the two, the adverse effects is the one which is likely to kill the patient. So when you read these medications, make sure you know the effects of the drug, because we have said NCLEX is a safety exam. So for example, we have the quinapril drug here, which is angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitor. What do antihypertensives normally do? They decrease the blood pressure. So you as a nurse, you are supposed to monitor what? The blood pressure of the patient. Very simple. Then we have the case study questions. Now this is the added question on the new NCLEX generation. Nurses, it's very good to know. In case study questions, they give you a story of your patients, the age, the diagnosis, the admission vitals, and the rest. And then they give you the lab values and the vital signs. So those are good news nowadays, nurses. The old generation NCLEX, students were not given the lab values. For example, you cannot be able to know the potassium level, the normal ranges, the sodium, and the rest. So, but the good news, nowadays they give you all the results. Now they need you just to interpret the results and what can you do as a nurse. So these case study questions, it's just like you are in the ward. You have that patient with you. You have all the results. So what is the next thing you are going to do as a nurse? So we are going to practice them as we continue. Last but not least is the study plan. Make sure, nurses, you commit yourself. Make sure, nurses, you commit yourself, because this exam needs you to equip yourself. And what do you equip yourself with? Content. So we need you to read. We need you to read, and we are here to assist you to read, because we are going to have modules or classes where we are going to assist you on how to read and to give you the NCLEX tips. Remember, NCLEX is very wide. We cannot summarize everything here at the moment. But I want you to make sure you read, especially we have the Saunders nursing textbook. That is the preferred material. And then we can also give you others as we continue. And then we can give you YouTube links where you can get materials. Next, so number one is you commit yourself to read the content. Remember, even if you give you the strategies on how to answer the results, the exam, sorry, you cannot get them correct without content. Then practice question. So we have different question banks. We have, for example, UWorld, Archers, NASLabs, and the rest. You are going to know them as we go. So make sure you use one Q bank at a time. So don't use 2 Q banks, just use one at a time. And then we have the 60-60 rule. So as you are starting this process, you have seen from the beginning the number of questions is 85 to 150. So, but we want you to start with 60. So, but the 60 questions you are doing, make sure you score 60%. The 60 questions you are doing, make sure you score 60%. And then, of course, because of the pace and the marathon, towards the exam, we need you to score above 70%. So make sure you have your study plan by making sure either in the morning you do the questions, the 60 questions, and then after you are done with the questions, you revise the questions. And then make sure when you are doing these questions, you have an interrupted session. So make sure you are just in a cool room, away from interruptions. You do the questions consecutively. And then you review. And then maybe in the evening, you can review the content. You can take now the textbook, and then you read. And then as you do these questions, you can write some hard topics. So nurses, NCLEX is a computer adapted test. Computer adapted test. CAT. Computer. So it means this is just the computer which is going to assess you. There is no any other person behind it who is going to assess you. It's only the computer. So what does it mean, nurses? If you can be able to see this rough sketch on the screen, we have an x-axis below, and I'm sure you are seeing my cursor where it is. This x-axis, this is the pass line. And then we have, of course, the y-axis, which is not visible. So what does it mean, nurses? You need to score your questions, and you should be scoring those questions above what? The pass line. Above the pass line. So for example, you are seeing these students. One of the students is scoring the questions, then is failing some questions. Scoring others correct, also failing others. Then also to start to score other questions, then score others up, and then start to fail again. So long as, because we said NCLEX, you cannot pass all the questions, just make sure you are a safe nurse. Score most of the questions, especially the medium and high level questions. Because if you do that, your graph will be, even if it will be up and down as these graphs of these students you are seeing here, you are above the pass mark. So you don't need to know everything. That's why even these students you have seen, they scored others correct and then others wrong. But they were able to maintain their pass mark above, they were above the pass mark. So the problem comes in when you fail and then you fail and then you go below the pass mark. So from there, remember, this is a computer adapted test. So this computer has two options for you nurses. It's either you pass or you fail. So how does it mark? Number one is 95 confidence interval. It means that when you have done maybe the minimum question is 85, so it will have that confidence in you. Oh, this nurse, this is a safe nurse. And then the computer will shut down because you are above the pass mark. But what if you fail? So even if you do the 85 and then maybe you fail terribly, it will just have 95 confidence interval that this is unsafe nurse, and then it will shut down. So that's number one way how the NCLEX exam is being scored. So it assesses your 95 confidence interval. Are you a safe nurse by scoring the questions above the pass mark? And then if you fail to score above the pass mark, it will be 95% you are unsafe nurse. So finishing the exam at 85, it's two-way. Either you have passed or failed. And then we have the maximum length of question answers, which you have said about the 150 questions. The 150 questions. So the NCLEX, for this scenario now, the 150 questions, what will do, it will do. Remember, if you pass number 85 question, so the computer is having a 50-50 doubt on you. It's either you are safe or unsafe. So it will continue to give you the questions to assess your safeness again. So that's why you are going to go beyond number 85. You go to 86. So it can shut down at any number. Of course, it's not a must to 150. It can shut even at 90, 100, 120, and the rest. But when it shuts down, so it means you are still in the game. So when it goes beyond 85, you are still in the game nurses. So it's going to assess you. But if you do all the 150 questions, so what it will do, it will come to the last 85 questions. Remember the first 85 questions, there were high chances you are below the pass mark. So that's why it continued to give you what? The other questions. So it will mark the last 85 questions. And if the last 85 questions you are above the pass mark, then you pass. But if below the last 85 questions you are below the pass mark, you fail. And then lastly is run out of time. Remember the NCLEX exam is 5 hours nurses. Even if you take 5 hours to do 85 questions, it's good. But because of that risk of changing answers, that's why we don't advocate for the student to sit for 5 hours surely to do 85 questions. So sometimes the 5 hours can end before you finish the exam. But nurses, remember this. If you come to the end of the 5 hours and you had not done the minimum number of questions, automatically you fail. Even if you are above the pass mark, you automatically fail because you did not do what? You did not do the minimum number of questions. But if you did the minimum number of questions and you are above the pass mark, you pass. If you are below the pass mark, you fail. And then, of course, if you do all the questions or even to number 130, and then you find that it shuts down because of time, then it will just assess the general performance from the beginning to the end to see whether you are above the pass mark. So that's the 3 ways in which the NCLEX exam is being marked. So nurses, prepare well. We believe in you and we are here to assist you to do well. So thank you so much. I return you back to Thomas to continue.
Thank you so much, my colleague and friend Evans Minor, who is a very great trainer at the Apply International. He's my leader there because I'm also a registered nurse, by the way. Maybe I failed to tell you. A trainer here in Kenya. I train in the medical training colleges in Kenya. I'm licensed to work in the United States. My initial licensure was with the Texas Board of Nursing, but then I wanted to do something broad. So that means that I had to seek a multi-state licensure. So I applied for such an endorsement with the state of Florida. And so therefore it means that basically I can work in any state in the United States. So it's a good thing to have that. So he's talked very eloquently and very nicely about what NCLEX is. So you could be asking yourself, are we training nurses? No, we are not training nurses. By the way, we are not training nurses. We are taking the trained nurses. And as he has told you, that the main purpose of NCLEX is to seek licensure. And what the purpose of licensure in any country or in any jurisdiction is to ensure the public safety is maintained. So that's why he's told you that NCLEX is all about safety. The exam wants to be sure that you are a safe nurse, that the citizens of that particular country will not be subjected into any unnecessary torture or any harmful practice from a nurse. So it's all about safety. So then why should we be guiding nurses that already qualified and they are licensed to practice in their countries? It's because NCLEX operates in an ideal world, just as he told you, in an ideal world. NCLEX operates in a perfect world, okay? And therefore, all we do at the Apply International Center is not to teach you. Of course, you know it's not possible that we can train a nurse for 4 months from zero to the point of qualification. There's a program that you do in 5 years or 4 years or whatever number of years you take in your country. Okay, so what we only do here is to tell you what NCLEX is looking for, to give you the strategies on how to answer the questions, the tips on how to answer the questions. We guide you, we give you the resources, the materials, and give you all those tips that he has told you. So that is all you need, nothing else, because if it is content, if it is the pathophysiology, med-surg, all those things, pharmacology, you've already done them. So we're not starting from scratch, but we're only tailor making your content to suit what NCLEX is looking for. So that's what we're going to cascade down and ensure that it meets what NCLEX is looking for. So those strategies are very important. And some of the questions that I've also been seeing on the wall is, what is the pass mark for NCLEX? He has tried to explain so well that this is a computerized test. It is the computer that is going to score you, of course, by basing on the confidence level with you. How is your safety? So once the computer is satisfied that this is a safe nurse, fine, you pass. And at any point, the computer will be satisfied that, no, this is not a safe nurse, you fail automatically. Okay, so that is why there is always a minimum line where you are not supposed to go below. Now, what happens? You could be performing very, very well, but there is only at one point you went below that line. Trust me, you fail. So you should never go below the pass mark line, not even once. The moment you are below that, it doesn't matter whether your percentage is 98% or 87%, you fail. So always make sure that you are safe, just as the exam is a safety exam. You are safe and maintain that at that level above the pass mark. So that is what we're going to do we give tips, we guide, and we give those strategies, we offer the materials, the mentorship and monitoring. And by the way, when you sign a contract with us, we will make sure that we put you on your toes. We will keep on your toes because you have paid for those services. And once you are assigned to a tutor, you must meet the daily targets or the weekly targets. You will be followed up to meet all those targets, so that at the end of the day, we are not seen as we are cons. We are not cons. We want to give you the value for your money. We want to give you the value for your money. Now, Earlier last year, there was something else that was introduced. It is called the New Generation NCLEX question. That was introduced in last year, 2023, about April. That is the case studies that he's talking about. Now, we are glad to report that since the introduction of the NGN, the New Generation questions, we haven't recorded even a single fail. Since the introduction of the New Generation questions, all our students have been passing. Not even one has failed. Okay. So somebody asked us that, it's not a concept that is well known. Very many trainers do not understand this NGN thing. But I can tell you without mincing my words that in fact, the introduction of NGN, it's like it made NCLEX a bit easy because we haven't recorded even a single fail since that introduction. Okay. So therefore, it's not something to be feared. It's not something to be feared. And again, as we say, we are not the best. It's because we get the best candidates. It's because we get the best students. So it's you who are the best and not us. Okay. So therefore, at this juncture, I want to rope in Mr. Dennis Wako. I hope again he's there. He's now going to tell us what does the registration process look like. Yeah, if you want to register today for NCLEX, what does the registration process look like? Where do you need to begin from? And what does it entail? What will be the requirements? Okay, but take note that we are taking qualified nurses already licensed. We are not taking students, please. We are taking qualified nurses that are already qualified, and we give you the tips, the strategies, the guidance, the mentorship until you test. Right, and we also help in registration processes. All right, yes, so yeah, that is great. I hope I pronounce this name well, Sibeso. Is it Sibeso? Yes, so just note those questions down, you'll ask them. Please, Mr. Dennis Wako, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Right. Yes, please, may I give you an opportunity to tell our clients how the registration process looks like and what is needed for one to register. Please take over.
Thank you, sir, for that clarification and for ushering me in. Basically, as you have been informed by my colleague, for you to do NCLEX, you need a minimum of a diploma in nursing. And also you need to be a licensed nurse in your local currency, in your local country, sorry for that, in your local country. So basically for you to become a USRN, or before you do the NCLEX exam, the registration process that you need to go through so that you are cleared or you are given the authority to test so that you can go and sit for that exam. It's not like the other exams that you just pay the exam fee and you go and do. The Board of Nursing needs to do a security check. They also need to verify that indeed you are a registered nurse or you have studied nursing before they give you the authority to go and write the exam. What steps or what does the registration process entails? The first thing it entails is you need to do what is called CS application, Credential Evaluation Service. Basically, I know most of nurses who aspire to work outside have heard of it, especially those who are aspiring to work in the US. They have heard of CGFNS, but most of you are not aware of what CGFNS does, or why are you going to apply with CGFNS? So I'm going to take you through all the details that it entails and what us as Apply International do to ensure that the process is seamless. So I'm going to start with what we do as Apply International. What we do, we help you through the entire application process. We charge a small fee that enables us to help you through the entire NCLEX RN registration process, so that you are able to be allowed to sit for that exam. So the first thing, we will evaluate your documents, that is, and ensure that you meet the minimum requirements. That is, you need to have a license in your local country, and also you need to have add a minimum of diploma in nursing. After that, we are going to do the first step, which is called credential evaluation service. So if you are able to see on the screen, it's called CS application. So basically what they do, you are applying for them to evaluate your nursing education and your license to see and equate it to the US education system. That is basically done for foreign educated nurses. So for those who are from the US, who have studied in the US, this step, you're not doing it because you've already studied in the US. So basically, this is for the foreign educated nurses who are educated outside the US. You can either do with CGFNS, which charges $405, or Joseph Shinley, which charges $400. So the good thing with us, Apply International is a registered agent with CGFNS, meaning we are recognized with CGFNS to ensure that we are able to fast track and follow up with your application. After you've made the application, there are some forms to receive, which you're going to take to your nursing school for verification, and also to your local nursing council, so that they are verified and sent back to the evaluation body that you have selected. After doing that, we are going to assist you apply with the US Board of Nursing. We are going to assist you on that. As my colleague has told you, you had something called compact state and non-compact state. He told you that he is able to work in any other board in the US. So we are going to advise you on the benefit of going with a compact state, the benefits of being registered with a compact state. We are going to guide you once you are there. Then after opening the Board of Nursing, they will need to confirm that you are not, you are cleared this background security check. You are clear with the background security code, background security check, by you submitting your fingerprint to them so that they are checked. Once you've done all that, the board is going to evaluate your case. Then you are going to apply with Pearson VUE. Pearson VUE is the authority that administers NCLEX exam. After applying with them, the board is going to give you the ATT or the go-ahead so that you can schedule your exam. We are going to assist you on this process. It should not worry you, because we're here to walk you through the process. Then after scheduling the exam, you're going to go to the exam center and do the exam and pass. So at the moment, the only exam center we have in Africa is in South Africa. Although most of our clients have been going to India because of the availability of space. As my colleague informed you, we are waiting for the center that was launched in Kenya to go live. Keep following our social media platforms on our groups. Once it goes live, we are going to inform you. And since our regional headquarters is Nairobi, Kenya, actually it's near where the exam center is going to be. We will be in a better position to assist you with even planning your accommodation, also your taxi services to the exam center, also with the hotel booking, so that now you'll be moving, especially those our clients who are from West Africa and North Africa, so they can come and test in Kenya. So basically that is the steps that is involved. So now I'm going to talk about the cost, because I understand that for every application, there's some cost implication that comes with it. So I'm going to take you through the cost. Remember, we are helping self-sponsored nurses who wants to go and work in the US or Canada or Australia. So basically, we are not sponsoring anyone. Basically, we exist to help self-sponsored nurses who don't want middlemen, that is the staffing agency, to take part of their earnings by sponsoring them. So in our next webinars, we'll be talking about the benefit of doing self-sponsored sponsor program. But for now, let me just tell you of the cost implication that is needed. So basically for us, we charge $120 to do for you all this application and to guide you. And we are always available for consultation or in case of anything. That is our service fee to ensure that we take you through the application and we fast track your application. Then for the CS application, if you go with CGFNS, you're going to pay $485 so that, and this money you're not going to send to us, you're going to pay directly to the organization. So you'll be able to, once we have done the applications, we are going to show you how to pay to those organizations. You pay using your credit card. After that, after paying, we are going to guide you on how to get the forms, which are going to take to a nursing school and a nursing council. Then for the board application, it depends which board you apply with. Texas is $75. We are going, for instance, if you go with Texas, $75. For the fingerprint application, also it varies with the board of nursing you select. Mostly, for Texas, it's $38.25. Then to apply for ATT, you're going to pay $200. Then scheduling the exam is $150. So that is the cost implications around the NCLEX registration process. I'm also going to talk briefly about our NCLEX revision classes that my able colleague Evans will talk to you about. Our next intake is in 2nd April. For those 2nd April, for those who have paid, I know they have gotten some materials as they await for the class to begin. For those who are planning to pay, you can feel free to reach out to us so that we can guide you on how to go about it. Remember, intake is ongoing, so ensure you pay earlier so that you don't miss your slot, and also so that you can be able to get all the materials and avoid the last minute rush. So our classes are 4 months. It's a 4-month program. Evans is one of the tutors, and she gave you an insight of what we do. The good thing with our classes is that they are done online via Zoom, the virtual classes. And also we have a very elaborate e-learning portal where in case you miss a recording class, you are able to get the recordings in the e-learning portal. The e-learning portal also, that is where you are going to get the revision materials. And also that's where you're going to get the assignments that are given by the tutors. So in addition to that, we do what is called individualized training. That is for those who want to be trained individually. We give them a different amount for that. That is those who probably they don't want to be in a large class, they want to do an individualized training. We also do that because we have put our service in a way that we are able to tailor them to meet the client's demand, because we understand that clients are different, because some clients' preferences and objectives are different from another. So that is it. So in case you need to reach out to us, I'm going to share our contact in our message in the chat box, so that in case you want to reach out to us and interested in one of our services, you're able to reach out to us and we'll be able to assist you. Thank you, Chacha.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Dennis Wako, our registrations officer. You simplified the process, and I believe that our clients are now well conversant with how the process looks like. It's because of limited time. We could have this discussion, we could have had this discussion for even a longer period of time. But because I'm sure you are nurses, maybe you are on duty, and therefore we don't intend to keep you here for so long. At this point, I want to now open the floor for question and answer. I was able to pick some questions here, as a few of them, right? So maybe if you have the question, you can type in the question. We shall try as much as possible to answer all of them. The first question, like for example, I see there was one from Emmanuel who asked, where and when will this NCLEX exam take place? Okay. And Faustina asked that we repeat about the cost implications. So that one, I'll give it again to Mr. Dennis, who is going to briefly repeat or pardon the implication. There's also another question that I'm seeing here. How much is the application fee? How much is the registration fee? So once again, I'll give you, Mr. Dennis, a chance to just give them a breakdown of how this cost implication looks like. But before you do that, maybe I tend to respond to Emmanuel's question, where and when will this NCLEX exam take place? Now, where? It is you who will choose, Emmanuel. We will tell you the centers that are there. We'll tell you the centers that are there. Like we've told you that in Africa, we currently have one operational center in South Africa in Johannesburg. The Kenyan one was launched, but then it has not taken the first cohort. We are waiting for that. So where it's basically from your own preference, where will you want to take this exam? So you will tell us that, please book for me this exam in Philippines, or book for me this exam in maybe India, okay? And when? When? It's when you are ready. Remember our program, if you start our program, it's a 4-month program, at least 4 months. So after the 4 months, we will evaluate and see that the student is ready to take this exam. And therefore, after 4 months, we can have you book this exam at a center of your own preference. Okay? So that is not to mean that you cannot book this exam. You can book it even tomorrow. Yeah, you can book it even tomorrow, after, as long as you have begun the process. But remember, it's a process, of course. You have to apply, you have to register, your documents have to be verified, because the first thing that will need you in the registration process, you see, it was a process. You have to send your documents for the various boards to verify, your nursing licensure board to verify, send them, and then the report is generated. So it's a whole process. And the registration process can take anything from 2 months up to even 4 months. So that's why we're saying that when you begin the process, when you begin learning, when you begin the process with us, the other things will also be going on as usual. So you are studying and preparing, and the registrations are ongoing. Okay. So once the registration is complete, you have applied for authority to test, that we call ATT, and you've been issued with ATT. You are supposed to book that exam before that ATT expires. ATT is valid for 3 to 6 months, again, depending on the state board that you want to be examined with. Okay, so I hope I have tried to answer your question, Emmanuel, and if it is not clear, please, you can also let us know so that we can answer it. Now, please, Mr. Dennis, will you come up again with the cost implication, just a breakdown? It's a question that was asked by Faustine. And at the same time, I'll give this question to our NCLEX tutor, the lead tutor. This is a question from Mary Grace. So you don't need non-self-sponsored students? I think there's a question that will be answered. So yes, Bridget, I see your hand is up, but allow me give a chance to Mr. Dennis to respond to the cost implication. Then Mr. Evans will tell us whether we need self-sponsored only, or we can also have the non-self-sponsored students. Maybe a student is with an agency, but wants to consume our services. Do we refuse to take them, or do we take them? Please, Mr. Dennis, take over.
Thank you, Mr. Chacha. So briefly, I'm going to take you through the cost, our cost, the amount we charge for our service. So I'll start with the NCLEX registration service. So for NCLEX registration service, you're only going to pay $120 to us. That is the cost that will enable us to take you and apply for you all the processes that you need for you to be ready for the exam. So the individual cost to the institutions that I was saying, you're going to pay directly using your credit card. The only amount you're paying to apply international is the service fee, which is $120. For the classes, we charge $200 for the revision classes, which goes for 4 months. So once you pay the $200, you'll be able to get access to the classes. And also you're going to be given access to our e-learning portal, where you are going to get the recording and the materials, and also the tutor's assignment on the specific module that you'll be doing. For the IELTS and OET, we charge $100 for 1 month. It's a very effective training session, and it's done virtually. For the UK university, international university application, we charge $50 to facilitate on the same. For the visa application, it depends with which type of visa you need. So it depends. It's on case basis. I think I've addressed that question, Mr. Chacha.
Yes, thank you. For sure, you've addressed that question. Please, unless it's not clear, you can also let us know in the chat box. Let me bring in Mr. Evans to tell us whether we need the students who are non-self-sponsored. Then thereafter, we will give Bridget a more. Yes, I see your hand is up. We can also see Faustina, your hand is up. So in that order, please, Mr. Evans.
So thank you so much, Mr. Chacha. So, Margaret, we normally accept other students, either those with other maybe agencies, and we normally also guide them on how to pass and read for the exam. And we have really received quite a number of these candidates. Remember, the advantage of our coaching is that sometimes we give you individual tutors at personal level, despite that we have the general classes together as a group. You as an individual, you as Margaret, you as James, you as Maureen, we give you your tutor who is going to follow up at least on a weekly basis, such that you share some of the weak units. He or she prepares and coaches you. So we normally do guide those who are sponsored by other agencies, but you find that they are not maybe benefiting in one way or the other from the other agencies. They will continue the process, yes, with their agency, but on issues with maybe reading and coaching on maybe exams, handling of the exam questions and the rest, we assist very much. So take that message home in case you meet such a candidate, just refer him and we are readily available to assist. So we are open to them also. So thank you so much.
Right, thank you, Mr. Evans, for that. So it's clear, Mary Grace, we take anybody and everyone as long as you qualify, whether you are with an agency. Of course, we have quite a number of students who are having an agency, but they feel like they need something more. So they come to us because actually, I'm not blowing our own trumpet, but as a matter of fact, is that our program and our process is quite rigorous. And therefore, that's our preparation program. It's quite rigorous because you are assigned an individualized tutor who is going to monitor you and mentor you. So some of them will prefer to come because, again, these NCLEX, it needs somebody to put you on your toes, right? So yes, we take anybody who, as long as you're qualified. Now, Bridget, your hand has been up for long, so let me give you an opportunity to ask your question. Please, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay, thank you. So my question is about self-sponsored candidates. Please, am I audible?
Yes, please carry on. We get you very clear.
Okay, so for self-sponsored candidates who are done with the NCLEX, let's say they've done all the process, they have their CES reports, they've done everything and they've passed the NCLEX. Can you take it up from there, like help the person to go through the immigration process? And of late too, there is this retrogression which is delaying most of nurses. Currently, I'm speaking from Ghana, and we have candidates who wrote as far as in 2022 who are still in Ghana due to retrogression. Do you have anything that you can use to fast track a process if you get a candidate who have passed the NCLEX? Or do we still have to join the queue as of what I'm hearing now in Ghana about the retrogression in this EB3 that they use to process for nurses to work abroad? So basically, that's my concern. Do you help candidates who have passed the NCLEX? And how are you going to fast track this? Because I know retrogression still exists, as I stated already. Thank you. So this is my major concern.
Right. Your question is clear and we got it. I don't know any of our panelists who will want to take that question. Evans, see you are in. Do you want to take it? Please make a response if you can.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, Bridget, first of all is that we assist candidates who have done the exam, they have the SS reports, and then they want to be assisted maybe to move outside now from their country. So we assist them. Now, the only tricky part of it is that retrogression affects all the agencies, all the bodies or organizations which train nurses. So it's not an agency which is affected. Remember, when you have done all the exams, you have submitted all the required documents. Now that's the work which remains with the immigration department. So, and it affects all people worldwide. So the only thing we normally do is to guide our students at least to submit their documents on time. And then remember, after passing the NCLEX, that does not mean that you are now going to migrate as soon as possible. Of course, it will depend with the number of visas. But the good news is that despite we have the retrogression, there is good news that the Senate over the USA is trying to add extra number of visas. So we anticipate that in the coming future, we are not going to have retrogression as such because of the extra number of visas which will be given to the healthcare providers. But remember this, as you start this process, make sure you do your exams as soon as possible, of course. Make sure you submit your all required documents as soon as possible until you become now completely qualified, just waiting for the immigration or exit interview from your country of origin. Remember, when you do all those things on a faster rate or early enough, so even if there is a queue of the number of the nurses waiting for the EB3 visas, you will be at a better chances of getting the visa earlier than the other colleagues. So also this process needs commitment, especially on submission of your documents. So sometimes you can, for example, get an individual who was, you are saying about the 2022. So you can find those candidates, yes, they are waiting because they delayed with submission of their documents. So also that delay, it means they are going to queue behind others who have submitted what? The documents. So it delays the process. So in simple terms, make sure you submit the materials early enough, and then you just be patient slightly. Slightly, it's something which we cannot really maneuver on because of the migration. So when it comes now to the issues of migrating or exit interviews, that is now an immigration issues which we just need the US government to control. So that's what I can add, and let's Chacha, you can have an input on it. Thank you.
Yes, I think you've answered it exhaustively. Maybe one thing that we need to emphasize is that when it comes to immigration issues, basically they use what we call first come, first served. So we cannot even expedite a process. Unfortunately, we have to wait. The only difference is that there could be other categories of visas. But remember, when we're talking about EB3 visas, when they are dealing with the EB3 visas, it's always first come, first served. Even other types of visas, like the H1B visas that were for work visas, it is still first come, first served. So there is nothing like maybe you can expedite the process or request for an expedition. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. But currently, the queue is moving. With every subsequent visa bulletin, we see the queue is moving. However slow, it's a progress. So therefore, my colleague from Ghana, even in Kenya, in fact, here in Kenya, we have people who wrote the exams in 2021 and they were still waiting, but they have so far received the dates because currently, as we're speaking in Kenya, we are in the priority date of November 2022. So maybe in the next visa bulletin, they could be, they may move to 2023. Yes, so there's a bit of retrogression, yes, but then the queue is moving, right? So I want to believe that we have tried to answer and respond to your question. So ours is really to ask you to fast track the process and submit the documents early enough as you are waiting to be on the queue. But I guess in the near future, we will go back to where it was, because initially the waiting time was about 6 months. Then you are gone after writing your NCLEX. But currently it's, you cannot tell. You can wait for more than 1 year, for more than 2 years, but we hope that it is moving to where it used to be before Corona. All right, let me ask Faustina. Is it Faustina? Please, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Your hand has been up for so long.
Thank you so much, sir. For me, the question was asked. I asked a question about the cost implication. Let me to repeat it a little again. But I found out that the area I actually wanted was the area of the CSS application, the US board, as in the cost application for the US board and the scheduling. I actually wanted, he ran through that when he was presenting it, but I didn't really get the figures clearly. Okay, that's one of my concerns. Then another is finding out on coming to Kenya for the NCLEX. Are we certain that, are we hopeful that this year, possibly the person view will begin NCLEX exams in Kenya? because I'm from Nigeria, and I believe that it would be easier for me in terms of finance coming to Kenya to write than going through Philippines or India. And I just want to be clarified too, do I need a visa from Nigeria to Kenya and coming to write in Kenya? These are my two concerns. Thank you so much.
Right, thank you. So there are three questions there. One question is, you missed something on the CS registration and application. So maybe I will request Mr. Dennis, please, you can maybe type in our chat box.
The US board and the schedule indicators.
Yes, those costs, so that you don't keep on repeating. I think you can post it in the chat box. The question number 2 was.
That is in order, sir. I'm posting it on our chat box.
Right, thank you so much. The next question from Faustina was whether we are sure that the NCLEX Center in Nairobi will be operational this year. We are very much hopeful, but we cannot say with certainty, because the US processes, sometimes they may take longer periods. But everything is set, the center is there, the infrastructure is set. What we're only waiting is for the center to admit the first cohort. And our projection is maybe in the next 2 or 3 months. In the next 2 or 3 months, we should be having the center operational fully. This is an initiative that the government of Kenya is really working on and pushing. Yeah, it's burning its midnight oil to ensure that the center is operationalized. So therefore, I'm almost certainly sure that yes, maybe this year, the center will be operational. Your last question was about the visa. There are trends that have so far changed in our country, Kenya, with regards to visa requirements where you need a visa. Let me give this to Mr. Evans to respond and tell you whether you need a visa or not, considering that you are from an African country. There were some declarations that were made by our president. So, Mr. Evans, I don't know whether you're in a position to answer that, please.
Yes, well, thank you again, Chacha. So, for you to move to Kenya, of late, the current trends is that someone does not need to have a visa to move to Kenya. So, I think by even the time the exam persona view center will be opened, so by that time we'll be very sure that there is no need for that visa, because I know the president waived that visa and people are free to come to Kenya without the use of the visa as much as it's concerned. Thank you.
Right, thank you. So Faustina, currently in Kenya, it's not only for the Africans. Anybody, you just apply where you are for something. It's not a visa. You just make an application that you want to come to Kenya, book a flight and come to Kenya. So there is no visa, any visa requirement currently. Okay, there was a question also from Martha Kirote. She asked, what are the setbacks on JSA, that is Joseph Silney registration, compared to CGFNS? I'm not sure whether Mr. Dennis, are you there? Are you able to respond to that, please?
Yes, I'm able to respond to that. Basically, CGFNS and GSA are both evaluation bodies. They issue what is called CS reports. They vary in terms of cost. For CGFNS, they charge $495 to issue the CS report, while CGFNS, they charge $400. The only difference is on matters of cost and also on matters board. There are some board of nursing, some US board of nursing that doesn't accept GSA. So you need to be careful on which board you're using before you apply with GSA. But basically, there's no much difference between GSA and CGFNS on matters of the evaluation reports.
Right, thank you. Yeah, that is true, that there's no big difference. Both of them are credentialing bodies, and it's only that CGFNS is widely known and accepted in all the 50 states. But Joseph Silney, there are some states that still do not accept their reports. But one big problem that was there initially with Joseph Silney is when it came to visa screening. That for visa screening, because we had students and we had some of our colleagues who did their credentialing with Joseph Silney, they did their NCLEX, yes, and passed. But when it reached to the point of visa screening, they were required to have a visa screened report by CGFNS. But that has not been the norm, because currently, as we are speaking, Joseph Silney has been granted full authority to do visa screen and issue a report. So the only challenges that are there is that some states, just some states that have not embraced the Joseph Silney report, okay, and the cost implication. Otherwise, there are no major setbacks. You need to consider which state are you going. Does it accept the Joseph Silney report, okay, or CGFNS? If it is matters to do with the visa screening, both of them are at the embassy levels. Their reports are admissible. There was
okay,
also another
to add on that, Henry, can I add something on that, Sam?
Yes, please.
Of late, there's some issues with their customer service. So basically, before you consider on which evaluation body to use, you can always engage our services. We are able to advise you on the best one based on your preference and also on your objectives.
Thank you. And maybe presumably the last question is, this was from Sibeso. Are you able to find a job for a candidate? No, yes, are you able to find a job for a candidate? So probably what Sibeso means is that you've done NCLEX, you've passed, and the process is done, and now you're ready for employment. Is Apply International able to find or able to get you a job? Again, Mr. Dennis, please respond to these.
Yeah, thank you for that question. As I've told you, we started by saying we do the self-sponsored way for nurses who wants to move to the US without involving the staffing agency. So yes, we do have many partners, direct hiring partners who you are going to engage in. Then you are going to choose the best for you, because we have over 7 partners who are doing direct hiring. So it will depend. We should encourage our clients. We link them to the 7 of them, the one that you have engaged so far. Then you are going to choose the one who gives you the best rates, and also that depends on your preference. So once we have started with you, we are going to work with you, the NCLEX process, and also the post-NCLEX process. But majorly, you are going to sponsor yourself for the NCLEX process. For the post-NCLEX, that is the immigration, the direct hiring agencies will always sponsor you. Thank you.
Right, thank you so much for that response. Okay, there's another question here. How much is the rate per hour on average? That one again depends with the state and with the recruiting agency. For direct hires, especially what we are doing here, the direct hires, I think the rate is anything $50 per hour to $55 per hour, or even more, depending on the state. Now, if you compare these with an agency, if you will go to work with an agency, The maximum you can be paid by the agency is $33 per hour. So you see the advantage of being a self-sponsored student or candidate is that you'll avoid so many middlemen. When you go there, you start on a higher scale, above $50 per hour. But if you're going with an agency for 3 years that they'll bond you, you'll be somewhere 30, some even pay as little as $27 per hour, which is almost a half of what direct hires will give you. So the rates again vary depending on the state, because you remember that there are some states, especially the states that are in the cities, they pay higher than the states that are in the rural areas, like the southern states, they pay slightly less. Again, the cost of living varies. So there are a number of factors that are considered. Okay, so I don't know whether there's any other question, but basically I want to believe that we have tried to answer all your questions. This was supposed to be a 1-hour session, but your questions were important. We could not assume them. Please, may I know if there's any other question, or we call it a day? If there is, you can just raise up your hand and we give you an opportunity to unmute yourself and ask. Okay, yes, Bridget, I see again your hand is up. Please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay, so pertaining to the question I asked, you didn't answer part of it. I wanted to know that maybe after the NCLEX, after the person has passed the NCLEX and we consult you as a self-funded candidate, do you assist the person to get the job offer to the USA? Do you assist him?
Yes, I think that's what we answered, Bridget. I hope I haven't cut you short. We said that there's somebody's mic is on and there's some background noise. Please, Mr. Dennis, help us to. Okay, so Bridget, what we said is that after you pass NCLEX, of course, we will help you through the entire process, including making your CV and aligning it to the international standards depending on the country where you want to go. So the first thing is to work with your CV. And then we have partners. We have 7 partners that we work, they provide what we call direct hires. So this means that you will not be dealing with a middleman. You apply directly to the hospital. You do an interview while you are still in your country, of course, after we send your CV. So we use the seven partners that we have in the United States from different states. They will float your CV in all those areas. And then once you're successful, you'll be given an opportunity to interview. Of course, you can be interviewed with so many. You'll make a decision where you want to go, depending on your own preferences. Then now the process begins from there. Okay, so once now you've done the interview, you have the job offer, those other things now, it will be between you and the employer. So basically, that is what we are doing. I don't know whether I have answered you, Bridget. Please respond if we have answered you or if there is still something that's not clear.
Yes, you've answered me. So you basically do the direct hire. I get you. Thank you very much.
Yes, that's correct. We do the direct hire. We don't have like we have our hospitals, you know, like what the agencies do. They have partnered with the hospitals and it is the agency that employs you. In this case, it is not us who are going to employ you. We will just make you be employed directly by the hospital and you'll be paid directly. So your money will not be paid to us and then we pay you. That is what the agencies are doing, like Avant and the rest. Right. There's another question here about the payment process. Do we have to pay? All right, that one has been answered. Thank you, my colleague Dennis, for answering that right on time. For the last time, maybe 2 more questions, the last ones. Is there anybody who is still having a question, please? We can take 2 last questions, if at all there is. you can put up your hand and we give you an opportunity to ask your question. If you are there, is anything that is not clear, please feel free. All right, so seemingly there's no question. So may I take this opportunity to invite my panelists to make their final remarks. What is your parting shot? I begin with my colleague Evans. So Evans, please, your parting shot.
So thank you so much once again. Nurses, I want to appreciate for taking your time to join for our simple webinar discussion on the process. So I want to hope that you are going to join us and even guide some of your colleagues. We are readily available. We have shared our number on our chat box, and of course, you are going to get us online. So feel free to reach on us. Anywhere you have a question, kindly reach on us. Otherwise, I want to wish you all the very best and hope to meet you soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Continue keeping safe where you are. We still need you, and you can see our colleagues from Nigeria, from Ghana, the likes of Sibeso. Sibeso, you need to reach out, and we need to get the we need to get the ball rolled. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Right, please, Dennis, are you there? What is your parting shot, sir?
Okay. First of all, I want to thank those members who have found time to attend our webinars today. We are grateful, and always keep the world going, that we are here to assist you, especially those who want to benefit from the direct hiring process, so that wherever you have made, wherever you go, like all the aspirations you have, all the dreams you have, we are here as a gateway to ensure that you achieve all the dreams you have, especially those who wants to become USRN. So my plea today is, you can always reach out to us. We are there to assist you and ensure that your process is seamless. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So maybe I give one of our clients to make their parting shot on behalf of the rest. Allow me to call upon Sibeso, please. What will be your parting shot on behalf of all our listeners? Sibeso, if you're there, please. You are on mute. You can unmute yourself if at all you're talking. Right, so let me pass the ball to Bridget. Bridget, please. Oh, Sibeso is on, all right? Sibeso, carry on, please.
Yes, what was the question?
I want you to make your final remarks as a parting shot. What will you want to tell our colleagues and our clients? Just as a parting shot, your final remarks.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. This was so interesting to join the meeting, and I'm sure everything was so clear and interesting. Hope to join you soon.
Right, thank you so much, all our clients, and also thank you for joining our webinar today. We shall be having these periodically to enlighten us and to give us updates. So please keep on following our social media platforms. We have a WhatsApp page, that number you can join, and we continue to interact there. Otherwise, I can only tell you one thing: where there is a will, there is a way. And the noble cause that you began today, it will eventually pay off someday. It may not be tomorrow, but eventually, at one point, you'll reap what you are sowing today. So have confidence in yourself and always reach out. You never know, we could be your destiny maker. Thank you so much. You have a good night. We meet some other time. Bye-bye and keep safe. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Oh, umesikia pesa ya US. Thank you so much, sir, for your last word of encouragement. It has really fired up something in us. God bless you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, but thank you very much. That's interesting.